Congratulations to them. I am just so happy someone has finally just punished Misfits for their overconfidence and really put them to the sword. But we'll talk about that a little bit later, because we got our last game of the day. It is Diabolus Esports versus Raise Your Governors. Raise Your Governors now with their new mid laner Vro, who's coming in and had an interesting Kog'Maw game on Sunday. Definitely wasn't something I expected to see mid lane in a very long time, but we're back in, ladies and gentlemen. Time to forget about that game now for a new game. Can Governors prove to be the giant slayers themselves? Because Diabolos are looking strong.
Yeah, Diabolos are looking incredibly strong, particularly with Kadro now in the jungle as well. This is just a roster that has become even more stacked. So Governors definitely have their work cut out for them in this one, and no surprises coming through so far on red side bans. Rai's going to be banned away. Probably going to see Skarner as well. Pretty much the go-to bans on this side. And on the opposite side, we're seeing the Cassiopeia and Talia. So still a lot more pressure coming through towards those mid lane bans on this patch, especially with the power that a lot of these picks have been giving with the changes to the AP scaling items. But actually, I'm going to see Tristana ban. So either I'm going to assume we get a red side Skarner ban here, or else it's just going to be first picked by Diabolos here.
You would imagine that it will be first picked, as it is the jungler of choice. And you see a lot of people talking about Skarner as like, yes, he's got a little bit of kind of, what would be the word? He's one-dimensional, very one-dimensional, but it's such a strong one dimension that it's very difficult to deal with until you get a QSS, and even then it's still difficult to deal with. But we'll have to wait and see. Last ban by Raise Your Governors is going to actually be Xayah. So, like you said, will we see the Skarner going over to side Diabolos? You would imagine so, because if not, Raise Your Governors get 2 picks, and there it is, locked and loaded.
Yeah, it's going to be the Skarner locked in, just so strong at the moment, and probably going to see now something along the lines of the AD carry and the support being locked in on the side of Governors. Brom is available for them, so wouldn't be surprised to see that pick locked in. We've seen a lot of priority on Caitlyn today as well, so could also see that alongside a few others, but it's generally been picked up on the last rotation on red side before those second time bans come through. So we'll have to see what they do decide to go with. They've been waiting an awful long time, but it is going to be Varus locked in. And this is actually the AD carry, personally, I think, is at the top of the tier list for the moment. But people have really been going with the Caitlyn a lot more often, and it's kind of been a bit surprising to see.
We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, Varus, he's kind of not really featured that much at all today. I think it was one game, that was about it. But Tahm Kench and Varus is a very strong, kind of carry lane to go from. Very powerful in the mid, early, and late. So definitely something you want to be looking towards as Diabolos. Or they look for Smiley. They are going to pick up that Caitlyn, who we have seen Caitlyn play today, but not to really much success. She, like you said in previous games, she's not really right there. She's maybe like A grade, not quite A+, and then you have the likes of Varus, Tristana, Xayah, they're all S tier. She doesn't seem to kind of do what she needs to do. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see what they decide to go for. Diabolos toying with the fact that they may go with a nice bird, but they'll go with a different bird.
Yeah, they are going to lock in the Azir, and this is basically what we saw previously as well, where you're all in on this later scaling composition now, which means that it's going to be on Raise Your Governors to make the plays happen. They do have the Tahm Kench there. They can do a lot of roaming potential, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them lock in a little bit of a, I was going to say an early game mid laner, and he's going to be the LeBlanc locked in for Vro. He had a great game on that the other day, picking up, I think he was like 10-1 or something, some crazy statistic.
Something ridiculous, definitely, but you know, it was kind of something that he played very well on, and hopefully he can do well again for the side of Raise Your Governors. They are very much in a heated battle with Hyperion for that last playoff spot in Group A. Either side gets a win, it's done. It's dusted, because unfortunately, at the moment, they've both beat each other once, so it's not even like a clear-cut thing. I think if it gets to the end of the season, I'm not entirely sure how it will be decided. I will wait for an admin to confirm that, but LeBlanc locked and loaded does do relatively well into the Azir. But what do they look to now? What do they look to try and secure right now? Because right now, Raise Your Governors, they're having a pretty good draft, but so is Diabolos.
Yeah, I think Diabolos here, ban away the Jarvan, ban away the Sejuani, and then that kind of limits the champion pool. Well, other Zac or Sejuani, whoever you're going to find the most difficulty playing against. Maybe in this scenario, actually, with the composition that's coming through, maybe get rid of the Zac instead, although to be honest, it's actually a bit of a toss-up. It's quite difficult, so maybe limit the top lane pool instead. But it's an easy pick for Governors, limiting that support role since it's already been locked in so much. And actually going to be banning away the Warwick which wasn't a pick that I really expected to be coming through.
Warwick is highest win percentage on 8.4. Could be a speedy thing to go for, as you know, kind of has that movement speed buff. He's got a couple of things that give him the speed. You know, it works out. I appreciate it. But again, Warwick, I think it's just something that when you've things like the power of suppressions, I suppose, like, you know, like the Skarner, Warwick Ultimate, you know, you don't want them to get on top of your Caitlyn or your Azir. They didn't ban the Sejuani, though, or the Zax. They left both of those open, knowing that they were most likely going to be picked up, so they feel comfortable going into that. Diabolus, what have they got built into that top lane? I haven't seen Sion all day, and I really want to see it. I really hope this is locked in. Nope, never mind.
No, they don't want to give it to you.
No, but Sion's so strong right now. I just don't understand. Comet Sion's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. But it does also have a lot of champions that it doesn't do too well into. And when you focus so many bans onto the mid lane, onto the support role and the jungle to boot, it means that then you're going to want to make sure that you've got a strong top lane, strong split push. And Camille answers that quite well. And we're going to be looking at the Tarek as well. So going to be kind of an interesting way that they look to play these team fights. It's going to be a case of Kadro looking to go in and get that pick on the Skarner. But the thing is, they're not really going to have an awful lot of so this is kind of weird. It's not really going to have a definitive front line. In a lot of situations, when you're looking at like the Zac or in your jungle, or even if we're looking at like tanky top laners like the Shen or the Maokai or the Sion or even the Shogat, they've got opportunities to peel for this Azir and for this Caitlyn. But when you're looking at the side of Diabolus right now, Kadro kind of wants to go in to get the pick started, and Igloo can offer some peel, but really it's going to be on Haddo to make sure that he can peel effectively for these guys. And when you've got a Zac who's leaping on top of you, followed up by Governor on the Shogat, I actually think this is going to be kind of difficult for Diabolus to play around these objectives too well. Governors should most certainly be able to get in and disrupt anything that they try to set up, and especially when you're looking at Vrao and the performance that he had previously on LeBlanc, I'm not seeing a way that they really shut this LeBlanc down in any sort of respect. There's no one to peel effectively for Smiley or Larson. So if Vrao can get ahead in this game, he can be an absolute nuisance to Diabolus' side.
You really, really can, but the team's locked and loaded. The one thing I am noticing is the squishiness of the side of Diabolus, but they have proven that they are well capable of running a comp like this, and don't count them out just yet. Razor Governors have a lot of work to do if they are going to be able to come out with the win on this one. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about what we think, it's about what you think as well. Join the conversation on Twitch. Use hashtag DBLWin if you think Diablo's going to take it, or hashtag GOVWin if you think it's going to be Razor Governors, and raise them in chat. I see them already. I'm pretty sure I've seen them in the chat already, even before this game happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different variation of Governor's name in that Twitch chat.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like no one seems to be... The jury is still out on how to spell it. But looking at the two team comps, looking at these two teams, looking at, you know, the extra little bit of kind of transfer news that we see from both sides. Cadril coming into Diabolus, we talked a little bit about it on Sunday, but that's a big pickup right there for you if you're on the side of Diabolus. He was described as their in-game leader now. He's the one making the shot calls. He's kind of fixing up the, you know, smoothing the edges and tightening the screws. And do you think that's going to be enough to really roll over Razor Governors, or will Vro just completely take over?
I think it definitely gives them an opportunity to do so. They have answers for a lot of what Governors want to do in the early stages of the game. This Skarner pick works so well, and particularly when you're looking at, you know, you've got that top in the top lane, you've got the Camille who can help out so well, especially if you know, go in, impale the target, bring them back out, and then you have the follow-up with the Hextech Ultimatum. It's near impossible for the top laner to escape, and I don't really see how Governor is going to be able to get away from it before he picks up much tankiness. The Shogat isn't really going to be able to survive that and doesn't really have any innate way of escaping. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Kadro put that pressure down on the top side of the map, ensure that Governor is not having a fun time. He's falling behind, and Igloo can open up for that split push. Let that Camille do a lot of the work for them, and then eventually you can look towards, you know, Larson and Smiley to take over the game when they do hit those super late game points. But at the moment, for the early portion of the game, Diablos are going to be looking to make this the Igloo show.
We'll have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the rift for the final time tonight. Diabolus on the blue side, but Razor Governors on the red. And I am very curious. The sky's the limit. Enclave showed us that. Everyone can be beaten by any other team. Maybe.
It actually just reminds me, did you see that post on it was someone made like a sketch of all the NA teams. I was like, everyone has beaten everyone else. It was just basically just reminded me of this.
Well, it's you know, you can put it down as competitive or just really bad teams. I like to think of the more positive as it's more competitive, but
oh yeah, TSM fanboy says so.
Said the CLG fanboy.
Hey, we're trying, okay.
Hey, you guys went 2-0. You guys went 2-0. That's not too bad.
We've got heart, and that's what matters.
Yeah, the faithful shall be rewarded eventually.
We were 2 seasons ago, and then it all went downhill.
Yeah, it kind of was like one good MSI, and that was But back into our own region and into our own clown fiesta of a league that is the ESL Premiership. Razor Governors versus Diabolus. Like you said, you expect this to be the Igloo show. Cadril coming into this new lineup. XLCS, mainly a mid laner, transition to jungle. So you could definitely call it a secondary role, but as I said, he is their in-game leader. He's the one calling the shots, keeping them in line, and making sure they don't make silly mistakes like we've seen them do so many times.
Looking at the way this is set up, though, we're already chatting about Cadril wanting to get in and affect the top lane. I'm also trying to look at why our Razor Governors really want to get going, and it is going to be in this mid lane. Larson is not going with the cleanse, so there's going to be a lot of CC that can come through with Brow and the LeBlanc alongside Speedy as well. So he's going to have his wits about him to make sure that he's not getting caught out by a wild Zac appearing from one of these brushes. Because if he does, there's just too much there for him to escape, particularly with the mobility that LeBlanc offers in this scenario. And if this LeBlanc gets going, Brow is already showing he can be such a menace in the split push role where he's just consistently diving you underneath tower, poking you out, and then eventually picking up the turret for himself. So this is actually going to be quite scary for the side of Diabolus. And Larson, he has proven time and time again that he is consistent for Diabolus and is their strength in the mid lane. But he will have to make sure that he doubles down on that in this game and make sure that he's not costing himself a lot for the side of Diabolus.
It's going to, as you say, definitely be on the side of Governors to be more proactive. Azir will just scale up fairly nicely. It's up to LeBlanc to kind of hit that big mid-game spike to go for those assassinations onto Smiley and onto Larson. As I say that, we see an Infernal Drake going to be the first spawn of the day. A little bit more contestable, a little bit more, you know, exciting, if you want to call it that. Both teams greatly benefit from it, especially with the scaling they both have.
Yeah, they'll definitely be looking for that on the side of Diabolus. I mean, think about it, an Azir or a Caitlyn with those extra Infernals is just so disgusting to play against. But that's going to be the case of how are they going to go about doing it, because right now they're losing Larson.
They are losing Larson. He's nearly gone down. One more auto attack will do it, but the flash in from Cadril means he gets himself the kill in response. 1 for 1. However, it went over to LeBlanc, and it did not go over to the Azir on the opposite side.
Yeah, and it's also everything used by Larson as well. Flash, heal, gone. Bro will be capable of just walking back, and he'll be happy, but Igloo actually a little bit of trouble.
And needs to be very, very careful. Does not want Governor to raise his Governors and get those stats up and get those health bars up as he goes for those feats. Nearly level 6 though, so no immediate threat just yet. But give it another wave and I'm sure he will have more than enough damage to kill off this Camille. Also vice versa as well, given the Skarner will most likely, as he said, hover towards that top side. But something that I wasn't expecting was Speedy to actually make the first move. I was genuinely expecting it to be the Skarner, who is arguably on the more proactive jungler.
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is, it's actually the biggest problem that they have right now is Governor is on red side, which means there's a far less walls for Igloo to try and get in and disrupt the Shogat, particularly when you're trying to go in with that slingshot. So it's much easier for Governor to tend towards the top side of the lane and not really worry too much about Kadro getting involved there. He's really waiting on that level 6, which he has now hit to get the Impale going, which is why you can see Igloo shoving this in to get it to bounce. He'll TP back to lane, and this should be in a good position for Kadro, who's now going to clear his red and move back up towards that top side of the map.
We'll be able to TP back to lane, but TP advantage then will go over to the Governor. I don't know, actually, I don't even think he's going to TP back. He doesn't want to lose that global pressure, because with the Cho'Gath having so much damage now with that level 6 hit, it's very dangerous for the rest of his team. He cannot let him just get away for free. And I like that little move there from Governor. He just kept himself alive. Kadriel comes in, gets stunned up, gets some harass down on top of him, and Tarek takes a pink ward. So all is well in the mid lane.
You can see now that Kadriel has shifted his focus a little bit, though. He wants to make sure that Larson isn't going to be the one falling behind. We're talking already about how many of this are having both summoners blown is so bad for Larson. He's going to be in a really tough situation until those come back up. So Kadriel is teetering around this mid lane to make sure that he'll be able to keep himself safe and as can be, in that mid lane. So I'm looking, Igloo and Governor duking it out in the top lane.
With that, Tiamat definitely makes it a hell of a lot easier for Igloo to push up that lane, push up the pressure onto Governor. But, like we said, it's all about where Skarner and Zach go. Skarner already getting a little bit of a CS lead. Has got that kill as well, so is significantly ahead. Will be going back and finishing off his Cinderhulk. That's going to keep him nice and healthy. No one really taking massive vision control just yet. It's a very different kind of game to what we've seen so far today. If we're being honest, the games today so far have been one team should really be winning it, and the other one just kind of hopes and prays. And we saw one time where XL just, you know, absolutely decimated, but the rest of them have been very, very close. So maybe Razor Governors will continue that trend and push in with the knowledge that everybody can take a win, and it only takes that one win to put you in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think at the moment both teams are just respecting that whoever really starts off these fights in a lot of scenarios will be the one who comes out on the worst end of it. I mean, if you're looking at that mid lane, if it's Kadriel that goes in to get the kill onto Vrao, if Speedy is hovering around there, it's going to be so easy for them to turn that around, particularly when they have so much mobility on Vrao. Actually, as I say that, they're going to look for Larson again.
There's the Emperor's Divide and the heal going to come out. Skarner off on the backside. There's the Let's Bounce coming in. Larson trying to just keep himself interested. Keep him the fun little target that Kadriel can get his claws into this LeBlanc. Camille is off onto the side, but they're going to have to back away. As I say that, though, Vrao gets caught out and deleted. Igloo coming in with the flash engaged. Tam Kench has now joined in with Jakamaka. They're forced to heal off as well. There's Kadriel now getting caught up. Igloo nearly going to be the next one to follow. This is kind of a little bit too scrappy for either side to take full advantage. While this has all been happening, though, Smiley pushing down like a crazy man, getting so much free time on this turret.
Yeah, I think that Diabolus should have just backed out after they got the kill onto Vrao. That was a good play coming through from Igloo, but they end up trying to get the kill onto the AD, or not onto the AD carry, onto Snuggly, as well as he pops himself up in there with Jakamaka. Realistically, though, they probably would have just been caught out. So trying to make the best of a bad situation, end up being 1-for-1. But you can see what I mean when I say whoever goes for the first initial fight is the one who's going to lose out, because there's just so much damage that can be turned back around. So much has to be utilized to try and get this engaged, particularly in the mid lane. You can see there that Speedy is second to the fight, and even Kadriel is second to the fight behind Speedy, and it means that they're able to secure the kill in the first place. We'll give across another one, and that'll just be rinse and repeat if we're looking towards this dragon as well. If it looks like it's Diabolos, we're going to be the ones engaging in that fight. It's too easy for Vrao to try and get in onto the backline, to maneuver himself through these jungles and over the wall to get onto the likes of onto Smiley in the backline. So it's not really going to be Diabolos looking to get this Inferno Drake for themselves too early. And it's going to be the same if you're looking on the side of Governor. They have to be afraid of Kadriel coming in and flanking them, getting a pick onto Jakamaka. Yes, he'll have Snuggly to help out a little bit, but there's still so much CC that can come down his direction that both of these guys are kind of afraid to be the ones to kick off the fight.
Yeah, you don't want to blow everything off too early and not come out with the goods, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. As I say, the ultimate completely whiffed there by Jakamaka. Call that 3 points in rugby as it goes between the two bot laners, and definitely something that could have went their way, but definitely needed a little bit more finesse.
It's funny that it's 3 points of rugby, because 3 points doing that won't get you the 3 points you want in this tournament.
Unfortunately for Governors, that's what they wanted.
But yeah, you can see now with that play in the bottom side, it actually is Cadril able to sneak away the dragon. They blew so much trying to make that play happen that with no success there, it meant that all the cards are back in Diabolus' favor. So good call by Cadril to realize he can now take that. And we're already saying how potent that will be alongside the Azir and the Caitlyn. So they are now in a fantastic position. And looking across the boards, you can see the CS leads for the two carries. Larson has consistently been able to get himself an advantage every time he shows his face in the mid lane, proving it once again against Brow. And Caitlyn as well, doing what she needs to do against Jakamaka, especially when he has Snuggly there. No real way for the melee support to help out as the Caitlyn begins to take pop shot after pop shot onto the Varus.
Definitely going to be a little bit more difficult as Smiley does get up those crit items. Vro just jumps in, tries to put a little bit of damage onto Larson. And they've put a lot of eggs in this Vro basket, and it's not really bearing fruit. I'm sure eggs and fruit have some meaning within that sentence, but I kind of mixed up my sayings a little bit. But like I said, they are putting a lot of resources into him, trying to make him the carry for their team, trying to force him to get these advantages. Jakamaka's going even, but he's on the arguably better AD carry, so definitely should be. This LeBlanc needs to start popping off. And you can imagine now that they're waiting for Guinzo's Rage Blade to be finished on Jakamaka. They do not want to fight in the next while, because that Blasting Wand literally does nothing for that Varus.
Yeah, that's why you often see a Varus trying to hold the enemy laner in lane as long as possible, because as you're saying, that 850 gold essentially non-existent. Might as well be like even a tier would give you slightly more resources than that Blasting Wand would right now. So they just want to hold off on fighting until that is completed. But the reason that we say Varus is the better AD carry at the moment is because of the pressure that comes down around these objectives, like the Drakes, like the Barons, whereas Caitlyn needs that time to scale up and get to those items. But with that Infernal Drake already off the board, and with Baron nowhere near in sight, it's actually well in Diabolus' hands to just continue to sit in these lanes and farm. It's only going to be Igloo putting the pressure down in this top lane. The rest of them are just going to play it safe. Caitlyn shoving the waves consistently into the tower, chipping that down bit by bit. But Speedy now is looking to put a stop to that, realizing that they're running the risk right now of losing both of these side lane turrets.
Yeah, running the risk, but you can see Diabolus, they have a feeling something's up. They're not going to be caught out by such a standard play almost, and they're setting up a very defensive line, just backing up nicely behind the turret. No real reason for them to step forward, while Cadril takes the Rift Herald, and that's going to be another advantage going over to the side of Diabolus.
Yeah, global objectives are completely in Diabolus' favor, and you were talking about a Cadril being the voice of the team, and that voice is a resounding positive for these guys. They've got the they've stuck the Infernal Drake because of them trying to make a play in the bottom side of the map, and again tried to make a play in the bottom side of the map. They end up picking up the Rift Herald. It is instantly thrown down in the top lane as well. It'll handily secure that as actually the flash forward comes through.
Flash forward, but there is the ultimate from the Taric, and that's going to be a complete disengage. And Flash ultimate for no real benefit. They lose top tower. TP there from Vro into the mid lane. Rift Herald is still going and very healthy in that top side. They need to be careful that they don't just, you know, give up this entire top lane for Igloo, because Igloo will just do a crazy amount of work in these late game fights.
He most certainly will.
Yeah, as I say that though, it looks like the Caitlyn's been taken down. Now they're looking for the turret. Hado has got Flash, has got Cleanse. Speedy has got his passive, so he doesn't mind this at all. TP coming in though from Igloo means that he's going to try and take out this Zac. As I say that though, Igloo going to force himself out of this fight. Governor though says, "You are not done with me yet." Yeah, you are. As he backs away. Cadril now joining in the fight. This is a very, very long, extended period that neither side has really come out fully on top of. As I say that, though, there's a little bit too much of an engage. Cadril forcing himself onto the team was not what he needed to do, and it's Vro who picks up that kill. Nice little turnaround there. Ends up being a 4 for none. And Governor is coming back a little bit in this game.
I have no idea why Igloo completed that teleport. There was no reason for him to be in that bottom lane whatsoever. That tower was going down. There was already 3 members there. Governor was answering with his teleport as well. You were going to die. Even if you pick up that kill onto the Zac, you just trade 1 for 1. You've wasted your teleport and you've lost the tower anyway. There was no point in him following down there. I'm so confused as to why that was the call. I don't know. And then Cager as well to boot, going through as well to see if he can help out. Diabolus looked so strong, but they've just given everything back towards Governors.
The only advantage they have now is that Infernal Drake that they took so early in the game, and next one is up in 30 seconds. It is going to be another Infernal, but now Governors, they have the pace. They have the advantage. They know there's no TP on Igloo, so that means that this is going to be a 4v4 at best for both sides. It's such a strange situation right now. Diabolus, we talked about, like you said, in-game decision-making. Cadril, I feel like he kind of baited his team into that one because he just kind of said, no, we can 100% do this, and they couldn't. Snuggly immediately with the QSS means that he's going to be even more safe, even if he goes in and gets caught out by this Cadril Skarner. So I just want to know what way this is all going to go. Both top laners now coming down. You can see them fighting off into that top side of the jungle. Dragon has been started. Cadril does not have smite. They don't know exactly what health it is on just yet. Now they do. Will he go in? No. He's just going to try to sit it off of the backside. So that's an Infernal apiece, and this game is as even as Steven.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Governors have every right to try and force these objectives. Looking at the way that their team comp is stacked, you've got a very definitive front line. You've got the Gwynsu's completed onto your Varus. LeBlanc has completed her first item as well. They're in a fantastic spot, but there's no way Diablos are going to be able to contest that. Caitlyn doesn't have an item completed yet. The Azir has gone for the Abyssal Mask, which means he's got no attack speed to try and take anybody out. And even then, your front line is just not tanky at all yet. So this is why Diabolus needed to try and keep control of the game. If they were able to hold on to their lanes, keep their pressure there, and continue to scale up, they would have been in a fantastic spot. But now that they've given Governors back that control, it's very easy for them to try and continue to push on. But looks like they're going for the dive.
They are going for the dive. So much CC, so much protection. And so much gray screen for the side of Governor. He will not be raising that. They do pick up a turret. They pick themselves up a kill. They're actually pinging a base race right now. You saw those 2 pings. They want to go for an inhibitor because they know that nobody on the side of Razor Governors is going to respond to this. This actually could be such a great play for the side of Diablo. Someone needs to go back and deal with this.
And nobody is able to right now. They've got no teleport on the side of Vero. Governor is dead for another 10 seconds. They're continuing to push on. They can go for the inhib turret.
They can go for the inhib. Vro is now coming in for this now, but I think it's a little bit too late. They're trying to take this tier 2 as quick as they possibly can. Speedy tanking up as much as he can, but I think that's the inhibitor. You saw how quick and decisive that call to take that inhibitor turret was. They have Igloo in the mid lane pushing that one up as well. What a good call from Diablos. Great macro play.
Yeah, fantastic play, and that was just one pick has netted them 3 turrets in the bottom lane. Razor Governors were not prepared for that at all, and Diablos making me look like a fool. I was saying that they'd handed everything back over to their opponents, but very quickly they turned that around.
Very, very quickly indeed. They haven't taken the inhibitor just yet, but you would imagine it's only a matter of time. Now the big question for you, my friend, who picks up the banner of command on the side of Diablos?
I mean, I think it's Tarek already working his way towards that. He's got that Aegis completed, has the cloth armor as well. Could be for his boots, but I'd highly doubt it. So I'm going to assume that he's working his way up towards that banner of command. The only thing though is they don't have objective control. They will never have objective control. Their team composition doesn't lend it to it. Governor is able to go in and steal that at pretty much any point in time. So they actually need to try and find picks beforehand. And this is where they're going to struggle. If you look at the... Oh, as I say that.
Ooh, Larson almost getting out there, or almost getting killed there. They burn a lot to get on top of him. Jakamaka very quick to use that flash to get it on top of a carry. As I say that though, Vro trying to go in now as well. They will have priority now on this mid lane, and you can see already they're trying to just burn it down. It'll be very difficult though, given that K-Drill has now come over. And they only burn the heal off of Larson, so not exactly the greatest investment you'd want, especially considering if they had burned this flash, it's not too bad, but now Jakamaka's without a flash.
Yeah, no, he seems to just be consistently using that to try and get these engages, which is not ideal when you've got a Zac there. But they haven't been able to find themselves in Diabolus' back line, which means that he's been forced to use it time and time again. Vero now is running away from K-Drill, who is dying to get his hands on this LeBlanc, but won't be capable of doing it. This is the pick that we were talking about, where they're looking to see if they can get it before they start off on this Baron play. But Governors are making their way in right now to make sure that there's nothing that can happen, and watch how they move as a squad as well to make sure that nobody on their side can get caught out, because if K-Drill finds someone sleeping at any point in time, they could find themselves caught out.
Yeah, maybe. And actually the person caught out right now has been K-Drill. He looked to be engaging, but actually gets destroyed by the amount of single target CC coming out from this Governor's lineup. Nice little pick there. Speedy just constantly going back. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And Governor himself, the Governor, doesn't have to do anything. He can just sit in this bot side. There's no kill potential with this Camille.
And this is what I was saying. They have to get this Camille pick so far ahead, because she has to be the one creating pressure. She needs to draw multiple people down onto the bottom side of the map, so then they can force the objectives with K-Drill, or force the pick even with K-Drill, and then have Larson and Smiley absolutely tear through them. But they don't have that potential there right now. Camille is not far enough ahead of the Shogat to really be an issue. Banner of Command is now completed as well, which is going to slow up that pressure that she creates as well. And you just saw what happens to K-Drill when he tries to start fights. He only has the magic resist right now, which means that, yes, he's going to be okay because there's a lot of magic damage that comes through, but Jakamaka still does a fair amount of AD, and the amount of lockup that comes through as well means that he just falls too fast to really make the play happen with the amount of CC that's there. So really, Diabolos are not in the best of shapes right now unless they can get this vision control in their favor, unless they can try and get the pick. And K-Drill once again has found V-Roll, but not really able to make anything happen.
This is where I talked about it a little bit in pregame. There's not a huge amount of tanky stats on the side of Diabolos. They don't really have the long, standing fighting that, we've seen from so many other people. Whereas if you look at the side of the Governors, they have the long-standing fight. They can engage, disengage, and then go back in with relatively good health bars. Despite how long that engagement was and how many times they tried to get onto Larson, they actually took very minimal damage right there. And it's a bit of a huge problem for them if they're going to be, looking for something more into this game. As I say that, Smiley has been caught, forced to flash away, will not get caught out though, and that's going to be a little bit of a mess up there from Speedy. They do force out Hado's ultimate as well though. That's a big cooldown in its own right. And both teams back away, but Warmog's going to kick in and Speedy will be just fine. And this is exactly what I was just talking about.
Yeah, I was going to touch on the fact that the Warmogs has been picked up by the Zac, which means he's free to make these plays now. Not as aggressive as we just saw, where he is burning his ultimate and everything, and his flash on top of that as well. But it does mean that they have the ability to go super aggressive and still get back out and re-engage. And speaking of engages,
yeah, maybe we see the re-engage coming in here. Hado with no ultimate flashes and cleanses. He's going to be forced out of this fight. He has no real way of sustaining up into this. Big wave in bot side, though, so that's going to have to be dealt with pretty damn soon on the side of Governors. But slowly but surely, we're seeing little advantages coming out. As I say that, is a suppression onto Speedy. He's going to try and get on top of this, but there's a good little bit of CC coming down onto Larson. Look how long it's taking them to really actually do any significant damage, and K-Drill gets turned on and almost instantly deleted. Governor forced to flash away. There's the Hextech ultimatum. There's going to be so much more as the re-engage comes in. Larson and Smiley now able to do damage, able to push in, able to get the kills they need for their team, and they pick up 2.
And they've got that massive wave in the bottom side of the map as well, which is going to be tearing through that inhib. They're going to be backing up, should be able to save it, as it looks like there's enough minions there for the others to target. But Diabolus picking up the win. And I was saying they needed to pick the start.
What?
Oh, hang on.
What? Bro, what was that? Why were you trying? I don't even understand. But as I say that, though, we're going to see Speedy going in. He hasn't got the damage on his smite just yet. 2 more free kills traded over to Diabolus. They obviously watched Kerberos earlier and realized they could probably try the same, but doesn't really work out for them in the end. Snugly gonna rush himself up to that top side just to scare away Larson from that turret. But very much advantage to Diabolus. They find themselves with a 5,000 gold lead, Baron buff, and a hell of a lot of a map to work with.
Yeah, I was going to say that Diabolus needed the pick to start it off, but with a good disengage from Larson means that they're not able to actually get onto the back line from the side of Governors, and it means that then Larson and Smiley are able to dish out all the damage. In particular, Larson in that team fight was dealing so much damage from the safety behind his Emperor's Divide.
Oh, dear.
We're looking at Governor.
Governor gets CC down, and when he's by himself, there's just not a lot he can do. No one there to support him, no vision to really keep him safe. And that's another big kill going over to the side of Diabolus. They looked a bit shaky. It looked like the side of the Governors were able to do something with this, but honestly right now it's just looking so difficult. Cagel's just able to move so much faster, and as I say that, maybe we get an engagement here. Hado, though, going to use his ultimate pretty damn early just to make sure no real damages come down. Snugly eats up the Zac to keep him safe, but sacrifices himself in the long run. Zac goes down anyway. Vro can't get any kind of kill whatsoever. He goes down himself. And honestly, right now, with these death timers, that can be game.
Yeah, you've got the bannered up creep there as well. The Baron buff will be helping take down this turret so quickly. 30 seconds, really, on anyone. I mean, well, 20 seconds at this stage. But, yeah, this is going to be looking like the game. There's not really much that Governors can do.
There is no wave clear. There is no kill potential without the Zac. And honestly, that was as clean as you like it right at the end. It took a little while to get going, but Diabolus take the win, and they final out our day with a W for themselves. Well done to them. Governors, they never really got going, unfortunately. They never really kind of had what they had, and they just kind of stalled out and nothing really happened. And, you know,